Hi everyone. This is Access Chapter 1, the pause and practice number 2. And really in the first one we didn't really do anything except just to play around and explore. So in this 1-2 we're going to explore the concepts that were created or that were discussed in the chapter. So you really want to pay attention to the table that talks about the data types and the naming conventions. That's on page 14. And the term primary key. So a primary key is a field that makes that record unique. So if you think about employee, like an employee table, it could be an employee number, a social security number. Customer table, it could be a customer, something that is unique to that person, that place. If we go back to my movie that I did on the last one, we talk about a used car lot, a vehicle, the VIN number, those are unique for that car, okay? So although Access does not require that you have a primary key, really the rules of good design say that you should have it, and you really should always have a primary key in a table. In addition to, so what the primary key does is it indexes, it keeps a separate little file that's an index that keeps them in the order of that key, and it makes accessing it very easy and searching very easy. So if we take a look at 1, 2, we're going to go ahead and go into Access. And one of the things about Access that's a little bit different is, you can go into Word, you can go into an Excel, you can do work, never giving it a file name, never saving it. That is not how Access works. The first thing you have to do is tell the system the name of your database, which is the file name, and where that is housed. So we're going to go into blank desktop database, and right here, I don't want anybody to turn in to me or your instructor a file called database1. So right here, we're going to give it the name of the database and the home where you're going to store it. So I'm sorry, I'm going back to see how many pause and practices there are. There is 4. So you're going to give your file name your initials, PPA for Access, Chapter 1-4. If you want to store it in a location, you can click on the folder here, and then you can put it wherever you want it. So I'm going to just put it right there. Okay, so I've given it the name, I've told it where to save it. Now I can create my database. So I have to do that before I can get into it. Okay, so that's a little different than the others. You could go into Word and work on a file and never give it a name and save it, right? You could print it off and never even save it. That does not work in Access. So we're going to go ahead and create it. And then the system is going to automatically create for you the first table, and it's going to put you in this view. And I have a personal bias. I don't like this view for doing design. I like to be in design. But the book is showing you a different way of doing things. So we're going to walk through that. I'm going to talk to you. So right now, there's one field created. It's an ID field. And if I were to just kind of click over here, but I'd have to save it, this ID field would be a primary key. Okay? It would be the primary key. So we're going to double click on this ID name because we don't want to keep it the word ID. We're going to call it EMP ID. So it's the employee ID. And then we're going to do the down arrow key. Put you down into this is really the first record. Okay, once you have done that, now we can start doing some changes to the employee ID so that it makes it designed well. So remember, we're just in the design part, and once you get the design done, you rarely go back in it. You're normally just in that data sheet view, right? So, okay, so we want to change the name and caption. So here's the deal with that. If everything that I use is going to use this field name when I create other objects. So when I create a report or when I create a form, it's going to use this. Well, that's not a very nice look. It's not, you know, it's shorthand. So name and caption, if we go into there, it allows you to add a caption. So we're going to say, spell it out, employee ID. See, you would not want to do that as the name, because then every time you reference it, you'd have to type that out. You shouldn't put spaces. But when you do reports now, it's nice to have the full nice verbiage. And then we're going to put unique employee identification number. And I spelled that wrong. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. So now look at what shows up here. It says employee ID, but do not be fooled. It is still emp ID. It's just showing you what the caption is, right? That caption's being displayed. The field name is still emp ID, okay? So now we're going to add new fields. So where it says click to add, we're going to do that. And then the first thing we have to do is say, what kind of data is going in here? Is it, oh, you know what? I forgot to do something. Go back to employee ID. So sorry. So click in here. We want the data type. Right now it's an auto number, so that's, you know, it just counts up 1, 2, 3, 4. The next record, it just takes the next number. We have the employee IDs. We want to put them in. We want to enter them, so we can't keep it employee ID. So we're going to click that down and pick short text. And in the field size where it says 255, which is the default, which is huge, you don't want to leave it that, we're going to make it 5. Okay, so we've changed the name and caption. We've changed the data type to short text because we're going to type it in, and the employee ID is 5 characters wide, so that's what we want to do. So we're going to type a 5, we're going to hit enter, and then now we can click to add a new field. We're going to pick short text because it's just a text, it's not numeric, because it is the first name. So we're going to type that in, first name, all together, capital F, capital N, and then we're going to hit enter. And if you look, there's a table to the right on page 27. We're going to add all of those fields. So the next one is a short text, and it's going to be called last, no space, name, enter, short text, branch, enter, short text, title, enter, short text, let's see, department, enter. Now this next one is a date time because it's start date, the date that the person was hired, start date, enter. And then the next one is currency because it is their salary. So that is something we would do math on. It represents a value, a numeric value. So you want to make sure that you put that in that correct form. So when you're in design view, you have to save your work. We're going to call this table employees, enter. Now I can go over to design view. So look, this is what we did, okay? But if you look down here, we didn't make any changes to these field properties for any of these other pieces of information. So we're going to have to fix that. So go back to Datasheet View and click on the first name. When you click on first name, do you see these table tools, fields and table? We're going to go to fields and it's going to bring this up. Okay, so we're going to do name and caption, and we're going to do first space name, and then employee's first name. And I'm going to tell you, the book has you do this, but really I save my descriptions for names of fields that aren't like apparent, like first name. Like, what more can I say about that? We're repeating it. So it seems to me kind of a waste of time. We're just restating it. City, what more can I say? But we'll do it because the book says to. I'm just saying in the real world. Oh, all right, so then we want 25 as the field size. So then if you look at the chart on page 28, we're going to do some of those changes. So last name, name and caption, we're going to type those in, last name, and I'm going to skip the description just for my movie, and then OK, field size, 25. Branch, name and caption, well, we don't need to do that because there's nothing to do. We're just going to change the size of that, 30. And you would go ahead and put the description in, but I'm not going to for the movie just to save time. You don't need to see me type. Title, we're going to change that to 40. Enter. Department is 40. Then start date, we actually do want to go into name and caption because we're going to recaption it start space date, and then you'd put in the description OK, and base month salary, name and caption, we're going to caption it base monthly salary spaced out. Okay, all right, so I'm going to do a quick save, and we're done with the design of this right now. We're gonna, in the next movie, I'm gonna start putting some records in. If you look back here then, and the changes that we made are reflected here. Okay, thank you.